Hey there everyone, it's Cat Planet, hells yeah! So we got the Pokemon battle against our brother Mettack, and he's running a Gravity team and I'm running a not themed team at all. Gravity's a very underused weather, more underused than Fog. I think I might need to start a Fog team. But I lead with my Scarfed Machamp and he leads with his Jirachi, and this is the second game we had in the match, so I predict him to switch into his Starmie, so I pay back, but he switches into his Fortress, and Fortress can take paybacks all day. And because I've got a Scarf, I can't use Dynamic Punch, so I Stone Edge. And he's confused because that's what Stone Edge does. And he's hurt with his confusion because Fortress's ability doubles its likeliness of hitting himself in his confusion. And so I Dynamic Punch again, and he's dead. And the video is kind of going a bit slower than the sound. So I send in my Flygon, and I decide to Outrage, which is Life Orb, my Flygon's Life Orb, and his Machamp manages to hang on in the red. And then he Dynamic Punches, and my Flygon is confused. And it's not good that my Flygon is confused, but it also doesn't really matter, because he Bullet Punches anyways, and so my Flygon is defeated. And so he switches in his Doug Trio, and so I can't get out because he has Arena Trap, and he Sucker Punches, and it goes before anything I do, and I'm dead. And the video is kind of going slow still, so I send in my Dusknoir, hoping to burn him. So he switches out into his Heracross, which is actually Flame Orbed. I'm not making this up, despite the fact that I made up the Scarf Machamp. And so he's burned like he was going to be burned. And he predicts me to stay in, so he decides to Mega Horn, because he didn't realize that Ghost resists Mega Horn. He thought Ghost was weak to Mega Horn. I thought he was going to Sucker Punch, but I send in my Flygon and he KOs it in one hit, which is sad because I don't get to use my Flygon. So I send back in my Dusknoir, and I take a super effective Mega Horn, and I live it with like 3/4 of my health. And I Shadow Punch, and he's down by half, and he's burned, so he's at like 25%. So he switches into his Jirachi, and which was his lead, I forgot. And I Shadow Punch again, and it really doesn't do shit. And we're healing with leftovers, so it does even less shit. And so he wishes so that he can heal his Healacross, which doesn't actually have a heal. It's just named Healacross. And so I burn his Jirachi, because I like burn everything in this match. Except maybe a Staryu. I don't burn that. Should've. But I sent in my Big Bird, which is a Zapdos, named Grover. He uses U-turn, which is super effective against ghost types, so I predict that like a beast. And he's healed by Jirachi's Witch. His witch. Not his wish, his witch, like a wizard. And so I managed to set up a substitute, and he takes it down in one hit with a Stone Edge. And that wasn't a very productive turn. Very unproductive. So I managed to substitute again after he's burned. Substitute again. There we go. And he misses his Stone Edge, because Stone Edge has 20% accuracy. And so he goes back into his Jirachi, and I predicted that like a beast, and I T-bolted him. And so he's like in the orange, and he's trying to get a wish up, but I think he manages to instead get a wish up. Wait, I kill him with Thunderbolt, which isn't a kill, but I call it a kill because I call everything a kill. So he gravifies, and I'm stuck in the ground. And he's trying to set up a wish now, and he's burned by his hurts. And I predict him to switch into his Dugtrio, so he lives this. And he manages to wish. Yeah, I was right about the wishes. And so he's killed by his poison, which is what the Dusknoir did, because Dusknoir always carries the toxic. And he sends in his Heracross, and I Thunderbolt him, and he hangs on in the red. But he gets his wish heal after he Stonages, because my substitute is gone, and that's what wish does. It's super effective against big birds, which is super effective against all Sesame Street characters. And so I'm an idiot, and he's burned, and I'm an idiot, and I don't set up a sub, but instead I Thunderbolt. And he's managed to die because of that, and because gravity's in the effects. Then he can switch in his Dugtrio, and I think I subs there, but tried to, but he Earthquaked, which is always super effective against flying dice, because he gets choices banded stabs in the fighting, which kills my big bird. And gravity's returned to normal, so my Levitate Suicune can come in and take no damage from his choice quakes. But I Surf, and he switches out into his Starmie, and it deals neutral damage. So I switch into my Dusknoir, and I predicted his Thunderbolt, so I tried to burn him, which isn't very effective. So he Hydro Pumps, and I live it in the orange, low orange, and he's Life Orb damage. So I use Will-O-Wisp, and it's super effective, and it takes him out in one hit. And so he switches in his Dugtrio again, and he's not burned now, so he Earthquakes, and this is his last guy, I believe. So he Earthquakes, and I hang on with 7, and I Will-O-Wisp. So I Will-O-Wisp, and I Will-O-Wisp, and I Will-O-Wisp. And he kills my Dusknoir with an Earthquake, so I can either send in my Heatran with its 4 times weakness to a choice banded stabbed Earthquake, or my Levitate Suicune. And so I mispronounced protect, so that it can get more burn damage and stall out the Earthquake, which he does right now. And it doesn't deal any damage because gravity returned to normal. And so I Surf, and he's dead, and that's all the game. And it was an awesome and intense battle. And yeah, that's the show, guys. So thank you for watching, and remember, all toast is toast, toast!